Hello, Internet. I'm recording this a second time. The first time the volume was like maxing out and sounding horrible, so that's okay. The video went a little too long, so I'll try to get a little more to the point. I kind of rambled a bit about music, but I think it was useful. So, what happened? And this is getting back to the book eventually, I promise. I canceled my Spotify subscription because I wasn't super happy about, I don't know, the UI and stuff. I like to tag music. I like to tag it. I'll tag it like happy, energetic, I don't know, sad, peaceful, loud, sing along, all these things, right? I have like all these different tags, and I try to stick within, I don't know, some certain list of them. What language the lyrics are in, others if they're non-English, and then I'm like, oh, should I tag all the ones that why I always assume English? Whatever, it doesn't matter. I tag music, and so when I search for music, I'll be like, oh, I want to find all songs that are haunting and something else, and I can do that if I with a, I would say, like traditional music player. I use Fubar 2000, but you can't do that kind of thing with things like Pandora or Spotify. And I used Pandora for a while to discover music, but anyway, see, I'm talking too long about this again. Anyway, I canceled the subscription. And then I was going through some of my old music because I still have, like, I changed my tagging system, I think, like a decade ago or something. And so I was going through old songs, trying to, I don't know, because I was like, yeah, I'm looking at my music, let's find the old songs I haven't listened to in a long time. And there's a lot of weird stuff from the 90s and whatever, updating the tags. And I came across the soundtrack to, and I have it around here somewhere. Where did it go? Crouching Tiger. Here it is. I don't know why I couldn't think. It was like I was looking for it. So one of the songs from the Crouching Tiger soundtrack came up, and this was like one of the first DVDs I bought. It's so weird that I have it, and it was sitting in a box. So like I was like, oh, I haven't seen that movie in a long time. That's what this song is from. Yeah, it's such a pretty song. I would love to see this movie again. I have the DVD. It's in a box somewhere. So I went up into my closet, which is over there. And there's this box with like the few DVDs that I own, and there were other DVDs I forgot I had. So one of them was like Evangelion. I was like, oh yeah, we watched that in college. I bought the DVDs. How bananas is that? And also, I always want to say Fushigi Yûgi, but I guess it's Fushigi Yûgi. I also, so after seeing that I had and that was such a trashy anime, so I don't know why, but it was like, I don't know, that nostalgia was like, oh yeah, I watched that. I remember we enjoyed it. I also remember it was kind of a garbage anime. I mean, it was good, but it was, I don't know. There are many better things, let's say, right? Like Cowboy Bebop, right? Classic. Fushigi Yûgi, I don't know how you say it. Whatever, it's also a classic because it's popular, but maybe not as much my thing. Maybe that's what I should say. But so after I saw that I had the DVDs, I was like, I wonder if the manga's any good. So I bought this manga. I haven't had it that long. This looks like it should be so thick, but I don't know. Pictures, not many words, it goes fast, and then all of a sudden I'm done reading it. But what was so interesting, and here's what ties back to my book, and the music thing does a little bit too, which is why I chose to ramble about that. We're getting there. I promise. I know, because I've already done this video once. But the author has these neat, like, I don't know, saying neat is maybe kind of funny, but it's these like, she talks kind of the fan. So what I know I'd heard about this before, but I don't think about it much, and I don't read a lot of manga, so I'm not as familiar with how that works, but I have heard of this, that like it's serialized. It gets published in like a magazine, or I'm sure it has a different name. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just a magazine. But they get published in, chapters at a time, and people read them, and yeah, I can see how that's great. If people don't care, then you can stop and take that space up with a different manga or something, right? But this one did well. This one didn't have that sort of problem. I don't know how these things work. Why am I even guessing? So because of that, right, she's able to respond to things that the readers say, and she's talking about like, oh, people really like this character, they don't like that character, they're mad at this character, she was lying, and like, but if you read back, you'll see she wasn't lying, and so it's really interesting seeing like the dialogue between the readers and the author. It's so cool, and just like her thoughts about like, oh yeah, I studied all this stuff. It got a Chinese setting. So she talks about that and how she changed some of the names because they're said a little differently in Japanese versus Chinese, and so it's just like going into, right, like all this kind of inside look at the book, and you just kind of get that as you read. And I thought that was, I don't know, I haven't seen that before, right? So something about that, but maybe this is commonplace for other people. I'm like, yeah, Ben, that's like I don't know, you can do the speaking of DVDs, right? You can watch like the director's commentary or whatever as they watch the movie. I've never actually tried that. That seems weird to me, but I don't know. Maybe after seeing how it kind of works in written form, maybe I should try that on some DVDs. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was really interesting. And the thing that struck me in particular, and here's now the tie-in back to music, is there was a couple things here. I don't know why I'm looking. There's like so many. I won't be able to find it. But she got like CDs that fans put together where they burned an audio CD with what they thought of like just songs from out there. They're like, this is what I think is soundtrack for your manga. And like, and I've thought that, again, I listen to a lot of music as I've written my book, and I don't know, I'm pointing back to my computer. Although honestly, mostly I use the laptop here, so I don't know. Anyway, as I've written, I have certainly been listening to songs, or just at other times listening to songs and be like, oh, this is such a nice song. This would be a great song for, like, this could be the soundtrack to the movie of this book, right? And like, it's so silly to think about those things, right? I mean, what are the chances that I publish this book? What are the chances that it's popular? What are the chances it becomes a movie? What are the chances that I get any say in what that is, including soundtrack? What are the chances that even if I do, I could get the songs that I want, right? So like, there's so many levels of like, this would never happen, but I don't know, I can't help but think about those things, and I feel silly, but whatever. But then, yeah, then seeing the same thing happen here, and even the author being like, oh yeah, that song would be really great, and it's like, I've also thought about this song, I thought that this song would be great, so she's thinking about this stuff too. So it was just, I don't know, it was really cool to read that. One song, there's a couple songs, I can't remember, there is another song that I thought would be good, but the main song, it's raining a lot outside. The main song that I thought, or the one that's coming to mind, is a song by, and I worry about this, so it's this guy on YouTube, his channel is Pogo, and I read a thing on his website where he's apologizing for something bad he said, and I don't know what the bad thing he said was, so I hope he's not like a horrible racist or something and I don't know it. I don't know what he did, but I like the music. I don't know, but I guess I'm worried now. But the song by him that I really like is called Boy and Bear. I mean, I like several of his songs, but Upular was also really great. That was the first one, I think, that kind of blew up on the internet, that made him remotely famous. But Boy and Bear is one where he put together stuff from Winnie the Pooh, and so it's Winnie the Pooh and the boy going, like, you know, chopped up in the style he does. I don't know, you give it a listen. It's on YouTube. Listen to it for free, and it's cool to watch too, because he clips together the source material, like the animation, to go with the music, and I don't know, they're really fun. I really like them. I don't know, like, I've got a friend who goes like, oh, it's another one of these songs. And it's like, no, I love these. So I don't know, maybe other people are tired of it, but I think they're great. I don't know, that's the sort of thing, epic rap battles of history too, right? I recognize that they're stupid, and it's maybe overdone. I love it. It doesn't matter, I'll watch them all. They just amuse me too much. So maybe somehow I just stick with these things past when they were good. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so like that song, I'm like, oh my god, that's the credits, right, for the movie of my book. That song is, it's so perfect. You could redo it with like whoever were the actresses for the, you know, it's like why am I thinking of these things? But yeah, so I don't know. It's I don't know. It's fun to think about these things. Apparently, other authors are thinking about these things too. So I just thought that was interesting. The other thing. And I just noticed the time to him, 8 minutes. I want to keep this 10 minutes. Maybe I'll do it this time. Last time I did this, I got to 14 minutes somehow. I was introduced to a publisher, or not a publisher, I don't think. I'm a little unclear. He was introduced to me as a publisher by my friend, or he said he was a publisher before I actually met the guy. But I think maybe he's more like a literary agent. But I don't know much about how this stuff works yet. Like, I bought that book on literary agents, and I started reading it, and I haven't finished it. I'll worry about that more when I'm actually done with the first draft. But where was I going with that? Oh no. Oh yeah, so I was thinking of alternative publishing options, right, which I've already thought about, but this kind of made me think of another, this and talking to the guy briefly, because I would like to publish in paper. From the people I've talked to, and even kids, because I thought, you know, it's like, I want physical books, that's what I like, but maybe kids these days, you know, they don't care, iPad, whatever. And so I talked to some other nerds that read books, and maybe it's just because they're also nerds, but younger. They were like one of them is 17, and the brother, I think he's on his second or third year of college. I mean, it's summer right now. I don't know. So however old that makes him. But yeah, so I mean, I knew them since they were little, because I know their dad. He's the guy who introduced me to this publisher. But anyway, they're both nerds and love reading, and they still read physical books, right? And they're years and years younger than me, so I'm like, okay, kids still like paper, I guess. Like, I don't know. But again, it's a small sample size. Anyway, I would like to try and do paper first. It feels more legit to me. And then if that failed, I was thinking I could do digital publishing. But having read this and thinking about like that serialized format and how that gives, like, you get that back and forth with the readers, that's so compelling to me. And then also having these little bits where the author gets to explain, like, oh, you know, just whatever. They just talk about whatever ideas they had and things that inspired them. The fact that, like, this has a Chinese setting. Did I already say this time, or did I say that in the last time? I don't remember. But it's a Chinese setting, and so kind of like how she chose slightly different names because they sound different in Japanese and than they did in Chinese or whatever. The characters don't match. I don't know. Language is complicated. I could be missing a bajillion things. So yeah, please don't take my word on these things. I'm not an expert. But anyway, yeah, it's just super cool. So that makes me think, like, if I couldn't publish any books, I was thinking, well, I would just release it on Amazon, right? I can self-publish digitally. Like, that's not a problem. I've published a game on Steam. I'm sure it's the same thing, fill in forms, whatever. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm wrong and it's a horrible process. But now I'm thinking that if I couldn't publish in paper, what I'd rather do is just throw up a website, because I also know how to do that. Split up the chapters, put ads, and then I could do also whatever else I want. Little blurbs on the side being like, here's what I was thinking of, here's this recipe and why I put it in, here's a song that I thought was good, right? I could just talk about all this stuff. I talked to this person and they told me that, and this little snippet actually comes from an idea that someone else had, and, you know, I could talk about all those things, which would be very interesting. I don't know, I've never seen anything. Maybe it's super common in manga. Maybe tons of mangas have those little notes from the author/artists. Maybe there are physical books in the US that do too, and I just haven't encountered them, but it feels to me like a rare thing. Like, I don't know if that would be an easy thing to do, right? If I published a book, could I just be like, oh, also I want to put in, like, funny notes on the side, can I do that? Or would they be like, no, you're crazy, maybe when you're Stephen King and you've published 1 billion books and you're famous, then you can do whatever you want. But no, you know, I don't know it's reasonable. So I don't know, this is something else to think about. So anyway, look, I said I was going to finish in 10, now we're at 12 and a half minutes, so I'm going to stop now. I know not a lot of people are watching the videos, that's okay. I should look back at the last one and check for comments, because I do want to see if anyone has questions. Please ask me. I'd love to. Again, I love that stuff. I love that back and forth. That's always how when I've made games, getting feedback from people. And that makes me think of a whole other thing, but I'll talk about that in another video maybe. That's another thing I'm working on at the moment, more than I'm writing, to be honest. But yeah, I love that kind of interaction. I think that's always interesting. I think any product of any kind is made better. If you're cooking, you get people to taste test it. If you're making a game, you get people to play test it. If you're reading, read test it. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, right? I mean, everything is better with user feedback. So user feedback. That's me as a web developer talking. So anyway, thank you again for watching, and I'll try to, you know, respond to any questions. Anyway, I mean, again, right now, if I look at my previous video, there's probably 0 comments. Maybe there's 1. So if there's 1, I can totally read it, right? There's so few. If you post a question, it should be a guaranteed thing that I'll see it. So anyway, thanks again.